Welcome and ho, ho, ho to the happy hour for Christmas commit. Welcome one and all to the wonderful Toys for Techies 2022 session hosted by your very own Mary Young, your Jerry Santa Baby, and of course, Santa Claus himself, Mr. Fran Raybark. I'm going to hand you over to Stuart now to give you a little bit of the lowdown for Christmas. Stuart, over to you.
Thanks, Ian. That's superb. So welcome to today's session, the series finale for 22. I did promise a low-key, laid-back session that will wow, entertain, and inform, and here it is. So backed by popular demand, for over 10 years, you might have enjoyed the fancy toys and ideas presented in the annual Toys for Techies session, hosted originally by FIATECH. The elves and Fran have been busy in the workshop. They've been cooking up more than just cookies. All the things you loved are back. Letters to Santa, the latest tech toys for boys and girls, stuff for the stocking, workshop wonders, electronic extremes, both bar and Barbie banter, and of course RoboWonders, wonder drones that are so small you can't see them. I'm really looking forward to that. We've got hundreds of ideas for everyone on your list, from Uncle Pennybaggs to frisky Fido. We'll include a list of useful sites to endlessly search, all of this mixed up with insights on the technology and the talk of tomorrow. With wireless wanderings, metaverses, STEMtastic, oh ho ho, secret codes, Nanotech tips, and more. So thanks for joining us. Listen for the interesting tidbits and this is the ultimate cocktail session of the season. Okie doke. So I want to just introduce COMIT. For those that are new to this, I can see there's a few people here that have been before, so they know, but there's a few new people. So COMIT, what is COMIT? Well, we're a collaboration platform, and I'll very quickly run through those points. We run community days, so it's peer-to-peer collaboration. We've got regular webinars, such as this one. Projects, we have a number of projects on the go at the moment. No better way than proving that it works practically. We have a drone community, was a project, now its own working community with its own following. We partner with other organizations, including the AWP group, and we run events. We have an event, a conference next May and June, and we've got community days, and I'll show you those at the end. So if anybody's got any questions, if we've time for questions, because having seen the lineup that Fran's got, I don't think we'll have time for questions, but we'll see. We'll see. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Fran. Those that know Fran know that he's a futurist, he's a visionary, and he knows everything about everything when it comes to technology. So I'm now going to hand you over to Fran. Okay, Fran, here you go. All yours. Over to you.
Okay. Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. I just need to get my PowerPoint up here.
Yeah, we can see it.
You see it? You
yeah.
Me here?
Yeah.
All right, I just had to move the screen down.
Might want to speak up a bit as also Santa Claus.
There we go. All right. You should see, I'm in the background here. I'm making sure these elves here, they're working. They've had a long time off now with this COVID. We have supply chains. We've got to catch up with everything. It's tough. You see me peeking out there at the top? I'm watching them. These guys are getting tough. They want like $15 an hour now here. Anyway, hey, it's good to be back again. This is always fun. Some of the things may be a little unsettling that I'll talk about this time, but it is sort of the nature of where we're at, and I just thought I'd bring it up. And anybody who's seen these know that there's very many common things that I talk about, Barbies and Legos and things like that. And I also get letters from a lot of the members of COMIT and all around the world. Anyway, this is my first letter. Let me go through it. Dear Santa, I want to learn more about drones and airplanes. Can you bring me something that I can safely fly inside my house? Your drone airhead friend, Little Tony. Well, listen, little Anthony, I don't know if this is the Imperial type of device for you, but here's one thing. It's called the Force One Scout. If you haven't seen it, it's popping up all over my websites and stuff. And what it is a hand-controlled, encapsulated ball that you drive with your hands, and you can throw it and have it come back, and it's really nice. It's a lot of fun. It really is safe, and it's comfortable, and you can have a lot of fun. Now, obviously, with this, like other drones, probably the biggest drawback is you need to charge it. By the way, one of the companies that I work with, Agile Handover, and one of our companies, Howard Hughes Medical Institution, they deal with brain technology, mainly brain research. And one of the things they've done is they've taken a dragonfly and put a computer chip on it, and they're able to control the dragonfly like a drone and steer it and control it. That just blows my mind. I don't know how they do that. Apparently, I think they do it with emitting light sensors into the nervous system that dragonflies have. Oh, by the way, on the drone kits, with Legos, there's a link there on YouTube. You can actually get Lego parts and build a drone with Lego kits. You can see that on YouTube there, the link. You might want to check it out. Well, all right, dear Santa, can't wait until I get Apple EarPods. I want to find the best wireless audio for my listening pleasure. Still looking. I think Stuart forgot to sign his name there. Stuart, are you still looking? Well, I'm not sure you really want Apple AirPods. I might want to suggest one of our sponsors here, and they have a variety of audio devices that you can connect with in the water, etc. You can see them on the front page, and you can give more details on that at the end there, if they're on the line there, Stuart. You know more about them than I do, but hearing aids are something that I'm familiar with, and it's been a long 2 years of me putzing around. The field is not medically advanced. The FDA doesn't certify anything. You can get things for your ears medically now, I'm talking about, that can cost from $300 to $3,000, and it's just hard to get any kind of standardization out there. Even my medical doctor, when he referred me, didn't really have a choice. I did finally get hearing aids. I don't wear them all the time. I got them, but I have some insurance, so it covers it. But I'm just not sure. One of the interesting things I saw recently in a post was the Apple AirPods cover 4 out of the 5 corrections that more expensive AirPods cover. So it's pretty interesting. I'll have to refer that to my doctor to see what he has to say about that. Hey, I got a question here, and you guys can put some answers in the chat box if you want to. We'll look at the chat box, and I have the answer here at the end here. But Bert and Ernie, infamous Sesame Street characters. They've had a variety of characters. I don't know if it's just me, but with my grandkids and such, there isn't as much interest, I think, maybe in that, and it's interesting. But anyway, my question is, Bert and Ernie, they were an inspiration for a Christmas show. Who were they the inspiration for? Think about it or put it in the chat box if you know the answer. Look at these Lego Wonders. One of my great ones, I like the Back to the Future car that you put together. A lot of these aren't necessarily cheap. I think the Back to the Future is a couple hundred, $200 something. But what's more interesting is actually this, it's Lego, but it's the Duplo size. It's meant for the smaller kids. You can see the track. They're very easy to put together in different pieces. But it actually has a motor and a sensor, and you can control it by it reading certain colors on certain pieces of the track. So if it runs over a yellow color, it may, toot the whistle. If it runs over a green color, it may go forward or backward or something. So the things are color coded, and you can sort of arrange them in your own way and see how it works. Lego always has a tremendous amount. If you're not a member of the Lego site, you really should go and you search around there. They have tons of stuff for architecture and engineering, actually. Become very sophisticated in a lot of that. It never ceases to amaze me what they come out with. Also, this was the year where they finally retired their first kit that I actually got for my son. I don't know, 20 years ago, almost 20 years. I think it was 18. The original robot kit that ran him off Flash, and what was interesting, he would build the things, and we didn't have a flat surface. We had carpets, and the motors, weren't exactly precise, and on carpets, it wouldn't work exactly right. That was frustrating to him. But anyway, I think he learned a lot in putting that stuff together. I mentioned this company last year, and I've been following them. With everybody getting back to work, and we're still doing conference calls and work things, and oftentimes, if we're in a facility, we're going back to getting together in a room. But you don't want 10 people in a room signing in with their own Zoom account or whatever they're running. This is a product called Owl Labs, and it's almost like what Picture Tell used to have. It actually creates a spherical capture of the image of the people around the table, and will capture the audio of the people around the table. There are cheaper things that will follow individuals, and I found a variety of these, and they seem to work fairly well, as long as you don't move suddenly, and that's pretty useful, especially for if you're moving around at a certain site possibly or somewhere else. And these run fairly cheap, $25, $30 or something like that. And they're a good alternative. You just have to make sure whatever you're connecting it up with can work with it. I always talk about the IoT and home matters. I got a lot of positive response last year from just the simple strip that you can individually plug things into and individually control them. The dominant thing that has happened in the industry is people build things and put them on Wi-Fi and control them through intelligent speakers, Amazon or Google. But what has happened, and there wasn't a convergence. I mean, some things started doing Zigbee, some things were doing Z-Wave. I think Amazon, was standardizing on Z-Wave. Google was building things to send short control type things to devices. Well, here's the good news, that finally a lot of these players have all come together, and there seems to be a movement. It's been going on for the last well over a year now, going on 2 years. Convergence on home IoT standards, and it's called Matter. the Matter IoT standard link there. You can go to the link I have there and get some more information. But this has an interesting implication. You can probably start to see a lot of fire sales and old standards. I really like picking up, there are several versions of light bulbs that are controlled through your Amazon or Google. And you really just screw it in the bulb and you control it with the voice and you give it a name. Some of these I've mentioned in the past, the WYSE, they've been acquired by Philips, which is now Signify. There's been a lot of merging in sort of a lot of the light space there. But anyway, I think if you're looking to buy any of this equipment, you really want to be careful. You don't want to spend something on, let's say a garage door, if it's not up to the Matter standards or due to be upgraded software to the new standards. But you might want to just dabble for a while, and probably within the next 6 months, you'll start to see more and more devices from Amazon, from Google, from Cisco, Microsoft. Again, all the name brand players are now all in on this standard, which is a great thing. Well, all right. This is where I go off a little bit. I'll go a little woke. I've always talked about Barbie, and in fact, I have the link there for how many missteps and things that Barbie or the home company Mattel has done over the years. They've had the talking Barbie. You can go to the link. I'm not going to go through those again. But this year, I think this really goes to the extreme. They're releasing their first transgender doll. I don't know if you heard about that. I actually haven't seen it in the stores. So I don't know if you have to sort of order it online or directly or whatever. But I think it's sort of a sign of a lot of these companies going off track. By the way, I assume that the word woke is understood. It's been a movement of diversity individuals, I think, trying to break stereotypes and such. Anyway, enough of that, but it's just interesting. It's good cocktail. American Doll, which is also owned by Mattel, goes dangerously woker. I don't know if that's a word or not, but they're publishing the American Doll, the American Girl's doll is a popular dog. It's probably a doll. It's almost 20 years old now. And they're publishing a book for the girls, and it's included, and I think you can get a free copy of it. And some of it here really just says if you haven't gone through puberty yet, the doctor might offer medicine to delay your body changes, giving you more time to think about your gender identity. Now, a lot of this, at least here in the U.S., and actually this article here is from the Daily Mail UK paper, is dangerous because technically they don't have to necessarily get parental approval to do this stuff. I mean, I'm not sure what we're going to do next. Allow them to drink and drive and do everything else, and from 3 to 12. If you can change your body without getting parental guidance and permission, something's wrong. Something's terribly wrong. Anyway, I'll get off my high horse here. So here's another question I have. What year were the American Girl dolls inducted into the Toy Hall of Fame? They've done a lot of good things over the years. They've created, a diversity of dolls. They've created sort of an international spin. I mean, so that's some of the good things in the past. Maybe it was just time for them to jump into, I guess, the new world. I was thinking about toy soldiers, and I think any of us that have go back quite a few years or so remember playing with the little army men. They've been iconized, I think, in the Toy Stories where they became a marching army. But I want to share this with everybody. And it's probably not happening all over, but it's a great idea. Home Depot had a setup where they had a little mailbox there, and they had a bunch of Christmas cards, and they had a basket of toy men. And what they ask you to do is take the toy men and put it somewhere, and it's very small. These are small. These are not your normal size. These are micro size, maybe an inch high. And put it somewhere where you'll notice things throughout the year, and then fill out the card, drop it in the box, and wish a soldier a Merry Christmas. It's a great idea. All right, back to my woke. Walt Disney has really changed a lot. They're taking down statues, closing rides, and some of them may have been offensive, but they're also a reminder of, I think, an era that's gone by. Their Song of the South, which is a water ride, was a great ride. And it was just whimsical in nature. Some people may be offended by it. But they took several statues down, and the ultimate is they're talking about taking Disney down, Disney and Mickey statue out of the park if they haven't already. And there's many other things that they've been doing. There's it's been a great battle going on, if you're not here in the States, between the governor of the state of Florida, Governor DeSantis, and the previous CEO of Disney, who has now left, and they brought back Bob Iger. And I hope there's a change, because it has really turned a lot of people off that I know of. They've gone too far to the left, I guess you would say, with trying to match this stuff. Anyway, let me move on here. You remember last year I talked, it was initial stuff with doing things in the metaverse. And I talked about how you can build your own avatar. There's much more that's coming in that. I think one of the most interesting things that was done in sort of the metaverse space, the digital twin space, and STEM has been what Bentley Systems did. They launched a contest that I think was 13 to 25-year-olds in Minecraft would build a world and then extend it and put it into the real Minecraft. It's a great way to get people interested, young people, and it's not actually young people, 13 to 25. But my feeling is you probably can get that age down to 10 to 25 if you want to keep that upper number. And this was a judge's choice. Somebody had constructed this and extended the site in Canada, the Pebble. What's really interesting, people just see the digital twin space as, moving real and virtual worlds and mixing them and potentially controlling them. I think the digital twin space originally just became almost an overlay of putting IoT and putting visual things on top of the IoT stuff. But it's now extended, and there's so many other, here's a sort of interesting chart that lists all the different things and characteristics that you really need to think about. I've seen how many people they build periodic tables, and they're just sort of trying to organize things into different areas. But as I look forward, I think this is going to be a growing market. In fact, I often question and wonder, a lot of people will build things in the virtual space and then try and get people into that virtual space. And why not build things in the real space, put it into a virtual world, and get them involved? Oh, this is great. One of the other things in the metaverse And I'm sure you've heard a lot about this couple billion that was lost here or there, a billion there, a billionaire, the FTX scandal. I never thought anything would be able to top Enron, but I was wrong. This is a movement, you know, the NFT movement, putting value on digital things that are digitally marked and singularly produced. This is this monkey, and there's a whole series of different versions of this. And this one with the golden hair, supposedly is one of the most. It's sold for over $3 million. Why they buy? There's $60 billion in annual transaction volume here, and the total estimated value is 1.7 trillion. It just blows my mind. I mean, if that's the cost, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe I can create my own here. Get my hat. I go into my Mr. Potato Head and pull out an earring, put it on there, take a picture because it might be worth $3.4 million if I digitally mark it. But what is interesting about this, I don't know if people know this, but obviously investments have been all over the place. It's generally been a down year. The best investment for your return is investing in masterpieces, in art, not just regular art, but not just digital art, but regular art. So if you wanted to get in the art market before, you had to invest a lot of money or have a lot of money to buy any of these paintings sometimes. But now there's a site that allows you to own a small piece of that. And the site's there, masterworks.io. And it's pretty amazing how you can now invest. I'm not surprised. So some of this is not stupid stuff. Some of this will grow and change. One of the interesting things I've seen and experimented with and attended is a company called Clubhouse. It seems to be the central, well-known. There are many players that are doing this, but it's social audio. So imagine, and it's often described as you're in a room or at a party, and you're walking around, and rather than having the boxes of heads all around, and one person talks, and everybody else has to stop and listen, and I might want to just talk to, I might just want to talk to Jerry. I don't want to talk to these other guys. Well, what social audio app is, by physically moving your head, your head there, or your icon there, next to the person or in a group of people, it's just like walking closer to them. You then focus the audio of that group on you, and everything else sort of fades in the background. It's amazing to experience this and see how it works. I'm going to be doing some stuff with this, with some of these other. There's a variety of tools here. So one of the questions I ask, and it's just meant, you can message Stuart or Eon or Jerry or anybody. I really would suggest that COMIT starts to explore a few meetings in the metaverse and different styles of learning things. I even was seriously considering next year hosting a Toys for Techie that is held in the metaverse, where you walk through almost a museum type style with the toys on the wall, and you can click and they get animated, or somebody gives a background. But that's just one idea. But there's many things we can really, and we can do this incrementally with different things and see how we can switch worlds and go into different worlds and experience a lot of these things.
We've got a couple of sessions coming up next year, Fran.
Okay.
On including the metaverse. We've had a couple this year actually, although they were low key. But next year we're going to have them on the agenda.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to touch anything then. Probably the most impressive thing, and I don't know if it's hit a lot over in the UK, but the whole open AI, generative AI landscape. Generative AI is sort of the ultimate AI. So generally, AI has been seen as sort of an intelligent number crunching type thing to do things. I would try and go to or just Google DALL-E, and if we have time at the end, Stuart, maybe I'll get you to sign up, or I'll try and load up my screen here and show you how it works. But
Okay.
let's wait to the. But these are all the generative AI things that are happening. So you're getting AI now that will produce ad copy. Potentially, we could use generative AI to produce specifications for buildings. All we need to do is build the intelligence around it. Some of the things are images, creating images, and that's what the DALL-E thing. The DALL-E, actually, what you do is you put in a series of text things, and you describe a scene. And then you say, you don't have to say this too, but you describe it. For instance, I said I wanted to see a series of buildings in London with clocks in Salvador Dali style. So if you're familiar with Salvador Dali, he does a lot of things like clocks, melding clocks and things like that. And it put up a bunch of Big Ben towers with clocks melding and something. It created a very good image. Now, the way it does this, these companies have been acquiring all your pictures and storing them for free. That's been fodder. There's fodder for them to go and build this. And that's what so there's a big question out there saying, who owns that newly created thing? Some people are very upset and don't want the major companies doing this using their original images. The big question would be, who owns that new image? So DALL-E has been on the image side. ChatGPT is the latest, and it really is sort of it's an interactive voice, but it's really good. You have to experience it. I don't know if I put in. I actually did at ChatGPT. No, I don't have it here, but it's also under the OpenAI thing. So if you go to OpenAI, or even if you go to the DALL-E, they have an upper link, and you can try out the chat thing. If you sign up for it, the first month you get 45 free images to create, and then every month thereafter, I think you get 15 renewed. They don't carry over. I think it's so addictive that many people will end up just subscribing to get it. A lot of stuff in wireless, and I think this coming year, there is a COMIT project that's been launched, and I really expect it to grow. If you want more information on that, talk to Stuart, and he can provide what we're doing on that. We'll probably be releasing some stuff broadly. I know they have done some surveys and stuff. NFC tracking, which is really and ultra wideband have really taken off this year, especially with iPad. With Apple using their token. The problem is that people put them in their keychains, and people connected to them, and they start tracking. They can track the person where they're at, or stalking. So that's really odd. The QR codes for everything is just explode. Anything that's non-digital, it's physical. It's just perfect to go and put up a QR code. The only limitation is somebody could overwrite it or hack the QR code, but I think QR codes are just explosive. And there's a lot of tools. In fact, I'm building a course now on creating digital identities, which will include, introduction of QR codes and barcodes and RFIDs, the different types of RFIDs, and how to create them with pretty much with your phone now. You can do all these things. And the QR codes, the next thing above them is really the virtual reality. Virtual reality, augmented reality is really a matter of not capturing a code, but capturing an image. And that's all AI driven in the background. I don't know if people have noticed, but I know on mine, when I do a Google search, I don't only have a microphone, but I now can scan for images, and I can point it at a brand. I can point it at a ketchup bottle, and it can then go and pull up potentially, Heinz ketchup or something like that. I have never really been a big Apple fan for a lot of reasons. They always seem like they innovated, but they were still behind the curve because Samsung often had done that before they even did it. This is the first time I'm really giving kudos to Apple. They're moving from SIM chips to eSIM chips. The real advantage of the eSIM chips, it's going to replace all SIM chips. And on your Apple phones that have eSIM capability, it's built in. But this now unlocks your chain to carriers. So you can switch carriers without necessarily putting in SIM chips or getting different phones. Not only that, but you can get services and connections and roam across other networks rather than getting dual SIM chips and switching them in and out. It also is going to be the pathway for integration with IoT edge stuff. And I do believe that this and the 5G stuff is all going to be a required part for Web3, metaverse, and next-gen applications because we need fatter pipes. We need the capability to seamlessly switch and do different coverage. Steve Slater and Stuart, are two people, if you're interested in what they're doing here, let them know. Also, very early on, before we started the webcast, I had my MetaQuest 2. I've never was a fan of the previous versions of these headset things because they were tough to set up. They were bulky, they were heavy. The functionality was there. It had an ooh-ah factor, but often had to be connected to a desktop or a PC. And if you were doing movement stuff, you had to set up a lot of things around it, the Hive, HTC Hive, and all those things. They just weren't, and I'm still a fan of the RealWear stuff. I got to go, my kudos are out to Facebook. They've come out with this consumer level price level, and it's, I would buy the 256K one. It's like $400 now, and they have it on sale with a couple games. It really is amazing and fantastic. Actually, I guess they have it on sale now. They're saying $349. They also just released two higher end, and I'm not sure if this is consumer or not. It's like $1,500. The MetaQuest Pro. I don't know if it's worth that level of investment. I think more devices means more following and more, but for certain applications, I think the Pro would probably be worth investing. And I'm not quite sure if code development is the same on both. So certainly, if I develop something for either platform, it should work on the other. It shouldn't be I need to do two parallel development efforts. But if you're looking for something in the gadget space, especially for some older teams, I think too we're moving quickly away with the metaverse and desktops and phones. Standalone game systems are going to fade away. Probably the only one that will have some survival is the Nintendo Switch, just because it's portable and it can connect and do different things, and it's sort of self-contained. So the question, what should I buy, the MetaQuest 2 or the MetaQuest Pro? There's a good article, surprisingly, under MSN that talks about these two devices. Electronic games. Before I get into electronic games, I go way back to the original Pong era. I was so fascinated with that. I was in bars, and then they quickly advanced into, the Pac-Man took over. But this came up, I think it was December 1st in my Google search. You know how they always have the Google thing? If you go to that link, you can see how it came up that day. But what's really interesting, if you click on the arrow, it takes you into a series of games of that era, and it allows you to build these blocky type games itself in that are retro back. I know a couple people that were actually involved in that early era. One of them originally worked for Mattel when they were building the Intellivision. I know some people that originally did the stuff for the Atari. In fact, one of the guys I had as a speaker at the Tandy Power was probably number 10 employee at Microsoft, and he got in before he left. He was doing robotic stuff and pushing that, and he's been working on some kind of robotics for the senior citizen. I haven't talked with him in a long time, but we shared notes on the original Atari 800, which I had with them. It was really my first computer. Checking out. Board games are great too. I think as we get into digital age, I'm finding with my grandkids that they really enjoy playing family type games around the table. There's a different social aspect. You can spill the soda right on top of the cards or whatever. But two that I recommend, Seven Wonders, which I think is a fairly recent release. It's sort of like SimCity, but you take and you own places in these Seven Wonders of the world, and it reminds me of a Milton Bradley game called Strategy, World Strategy, that you actually own the country and you build up your military, you build up your industry, and you build up your population. So you couldn't leave your population starving and spend all your money on the industry and on the military. But anyway, I won't get into details there. The other one is a great game, and I'm glad they came out with this for younger kids, made it a little easier. It's called 24. I don't know if you've seen this or not. There's various versions. This is sort of the lower level. You see the 4 numbers there? The name of the game is to take those 4 numbers and add, subtract, multiply each of them only once and come up with the number 24. Now, this looks easy. In fact, I'll ask everybody in the chat window, tell me your combination of those 4 things that come up to the number 24. There's actually multiple answers, potential answers there. And then the dots indicate the level of difficulty, so once you master a certain level. What I like about this game is I've seen just teaching the old math multiplication tables just the old way, just drill and drill. What's great about this is it forces the kids to think about the numbers in different ways. Hey, what about Fido? Let's not forget him. I can't forget him. We just adopted a beagle from the pharmaceutical group down in. They took 2,000 beagles out of one of the pharmaceuticals. They were using them for test animals, and he's fun, but he's a pistol. And speaking of pistols, we all love playing ball with our dogs, and you can throw it forever. And you're just standing there throwing it, and he's bringing it back, or she's bringing it back. After a while, it can get a little boring, and he wants to go on forever. This is great. You can put the balls in here, and it'll shoot them out, and you can train them to come back and then drop it in there. If that's not up your alley there, the FIATECH games, here are mats, 2 mats that you can get. And, you put your dishes there, your feeding dishes. Here's something to eat. They're labeled brunch and booze. More so for the dogs, I guess, and for cats, fish and chips. And by the way,
we got an answer, Fran.
What's that?
We got an answer came into the question. 3 times 7 minus 1.
No, you have to use all 4 numbers.
Okay.
You have to, right?
Oh, I failed.
It's not that easy. And by the way, that's the easy one.
Anybody else fancy having?
Okay.
Too tough for me on a Friday afternoon.
Wait, I'll tell you that. 7 times 4 is how much? 28 minus 3 minus 1.
Okay.
Perfect. You're a genius.
Not just for kids. I remember them, and some of them are really, really hard. Anyway, so I usually have something with for Neil. Neil always likes to have something from the bar. You might want to get this maybe and put your booze on this mat, your beer here, and your food here, and put it right on the table, and then you can share it with your dog. The most expensive toys in the world. So these are the things that are way beyond, but something that, if you can afford it, you might want to consider it. And this comes from Neiman Marcus. Every year they publish this in their catalog. For $200,000, you can get the Sweet Tooth Hotel custom mini course. And there's a phone number you can call, and you have your own custom mini course. Now, if you're not up for something that big, they actually have in Neiman Marcus something a little bit cheaper, an indoor golf course builder, which I think is great for the kids. They, if you want to adopt them and get them into the stuff. Because part of the fun, I think, is building the course and then playing it. And cars for the little one. These aren't big cars. These are like the ones that, they're like not HO size, but they're only big enough for like a 3 to 8-year-old to fit in. But they have a Maserati for $32,000, a Mercedes for $32,000. And the kids can drive these. They have a battery in it. So if you're interested in electric cars, maybe this is an option. You got to shrink down in them. My favorite that they have this year is they have large chess pieces. I experienced this in person one time when I was speaking over at a conference in Amsterdam. They actually had it in the square, and people wore pieces and they moved the pieces. It wasn't clear to me that they were selling this, if it included sort of some kind of mat, or did you have to sort of draw it? But I thought that was interesting. The toys of the year for 2022. I'm scratching my head on this one, and this was voted by really a lot of the toy experts. I don't have squashmallows hit big over there. Both my kids, that's what they have, the grandkids. They're by Jazzwares. It's a pillow. I feel like it's an oversized version of Beanie Baby, which came and went very quickly. But they won Toy of the Year. They won the People's Choice Award. They also won Stuffed Animal Award for Toy of the Year. They won like 3 positions. And that's pretty rare. I think that might even be a first. Some of the other toys of the year, many of you remember different things that WowE has done from everything from all different types of robotics. You might remember my monkey and how you pet it and it made noises. but they've come out with Twister Splash. This I thought was a really cool idea. We probably remember playing a little Twister at some point in time, and you're twisting all around. It was great when you're a teenager and stuff, and you have sort of mixed couples in there. It's fun. Everybody ends up just falling on top of each other. But for kids, this kid-size version is add the wetness, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. Here's a ride-on racer. Now, this again is, I don't think I have a price on this, but it's all under the same, the Neiman Marcus thing. Or, I mean, the toys. I don't know. I sort of prefer the old days of the big wheels. Man, I remember many days. I was probably too old for riding big wheels when they came out. But kids would ride those things and just turn them and spin around. They they got a lot of exercise and they had more control. Anyway, everything's getting automated. And I didn't need any gas then. I didn't even need any electricity for a big wheel. But now they have this, and it has a battery and runs on a battery. The STEM toy of the year was Bill Nye's VR Science Kit. I don't know the details on this. I mean, he's a well-known, and I think he sells the brand and the toy more so. I'm not sure. I haven't heard of Abacus brands. I'm not sure of actually what's in the kit and how good it is. I think you can teach kids and get examples and teach VR and AR very easily with other things. In fact, one of the things I'd recommend is the Merge Cube. They have different applications, and basically you just need a cell phone, a cell phone, a tablet with a camera, and they have a whole bunch of sample applications that you can use. I think that's more in line for kids and has much further staying power. The National Toy Hall of Fame inductees. This comes every year, and generally it's made up of really old toys that sometimes you didn't think of or you played with. I think some of the things that have been on here have been like a bat and a ball, paper ball. People used to roll up paper balls and get a big
5 minutes, Fran.
What's that?
5 minutes.
Okay. I don't want to miss this. Bacon is costing 40% more. That's really concerning me. But nonetheless, I can still get my muddy pigs and actually have, one of these chocolate-covered bacon strips. You got to experience them. Just Google muddy pigs. Two quick notes here. Coin batteries, they're killers. I talked about this last year, and I think I'm going to forever continue. Coin batteries are on all the ornaments a lot of times and things, and in building kits and stuff. They're really dangerous. My daughter, who works at Children's Hospital, alerted me to this a couple of years ago, and anybody I talk to every once in a while, I remind them, keep coin batteries away from kids and animals, too. Pick up everything. Film of the year, I just saw Disney's Strange World. And I still am sort of absorbing it. It's not your traditional. They try to go in sort of different diversity directions and everything like that. One of the things, for example, the dog is missing a leg. I thought that was kind of cute. The dog just kept up with them and all. But there's many other things that are embedded there, and the story is, I think, maybe too complex for younger kids. In the beginning, Bert and Ernie, I asked you, do you know? I didn't see the chat box. Did anybody guess anything? Bert and Ernie were in It's a Wonderful Life, and
yes, that's it.
It's assumed and debated a bit, but I'm almost sure that when Jim Henson sort of named his his puppets, that that these were the two guys that he was thinking of, or he might have had just some inspiration. Anyway, that's it. Hey, where'd the elves go? Looks like they might have went home already. You know,
There they are.
Maybe there's something.
It's Friday afternoon here, and it's gone 3 o'clock, so they're probably on the way home.
Your neck of the woods. These guys are here in the East Coast. This is my East Coast, workshop.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Fran. There's some great tips there and tricks.
Anybody get Bert and Ernie?
No, Ian I think did.
Oh, did he? Very good, Ian.
You're muted, Ian.
I knew it was something to do with Wonderful Life, but I couldn't think of what characters they were.
Brilliant.
Another great book I just happened to pick up is Useless Facts, and it's a whole book of useless facts. One of the facts that are there that they talk about, and you can Google it and see the debate. But Marilyn Monroe actually had 6 toes.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, on one foot. Suppose he had.
Unbelievable.
And that's where I or anything.
Hey, listen, guys. We've got a couple of minutes to close out. I want to say thanks, Fran. I'll just leave that for a second or two. Just let me first and foremost thank the sponsors. So we've got Virgin Media O2 and Snugs. Thank you very much, guys, for supporting us through the year. I also want to say, if I can just get onto the next slide, I want to say thanks very much to presenter, Fran today, and the panelists and attendees throughout the year, not just today. Also for the very, very kind comments that I get. I get emails, I get messages, message to the chat box, whatever, throughout the year. It's encouraging. Thank you very much for that. We have got a series lined up for 2023 as well, and we've got a few other exciting things that we're going to do. Events-wise, we've got Community Day on the 9th or the 16th. That's about to be confirmed any moment. We've got a conference that's coming up on the 31st of May and the 1st of June at Waterloo in London. We've got a Community Day session in September, again in London. And on the 30th of November, we're at IFS in Staines for those that have attended that location before. We're looking forward to all of next year. We've got some exciting things planned, as I said. Before I close out and say thank you and nice weekend and everything, has anybody got anything to add? Ian?
I don't think I have, Stuart, apart from thank you very much for organising all these webinars over the last few years, starting off obviously when the COVID lockdown stopped us from meeting in person, but I think they've worked exceedingly well and you've done an awesome job. Thank you very much indeed for organising all the others and especially for this one today because it has been exceedingly interesting. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Ian. Thank you. Jerry?
Yeah, I'd just like to say to everybody listening, have a really Merry Christmas and all the best for next year. Have a great time.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks. Where's Fran gone to? Where you disappeared, Fran? Where have you gone?
Santa Fran, come back.
Your camera's gone off, but never mind.
Okay.
So listen, everybody, have a great weekend. I've just got a message just saying will the links be available later? Yes, they will. We'll have those up on the screen on Monday morning. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the COMIT team. And look at all those presents in that bucket. They might be a bit dirty, but there you go.
Yeah.
So, Fran, listen, thanks very much, Fran. Great session.
Bye.
See you all soon.
Bye.
Callie, CALL-E. You'll love it.
Brilliant. Thank you. Cheers
Bye for
all.
now. Cheers now. Bye-bye.